Hello, everyone, and welcome to the newest episode of this weekend's releases. That's right, everybody. Woo! Woo! Cheers! Yeah. That's me. So we have quite the lineup today for movies. We had 4 different, ranging from all kinds of genres. We got horror. We have action, stupid action. And then we have a surprise one. We have a musical based off of a play that's a reworking for modern audiences with current music that also wants to let us know that the history can be rewritten. That's right, everybody, and we'll explain how at the end. But let's begin with, we're going to go in order of the... We're going to go in the order that I saw the fucking things, okay? And I saw, first this week, a little movie called Fight or Flight. Fight or Flight is an action movie starring Josh Hartnett. What happens when you take an ex-military specialist, throw them in the middle of a third world country with nothing but drugs, alcohol, and people that want him dead? Well, I'll tell you what, he becomes more powerful than you could ever imagine. In fact, while you're imagine if Bullet Train, imagine a movie that was brave enough to take the two concepts. Mark Wahlberg from Flight Risk. What if he really was the good guy? What if he was the good guy of a movie called Bullet Train? Now, despite how cliche and overused the concept of this movie is, we need one every couple of years. Actually, more like every couple of months. We need just a dumb action movie to try to put butts in seats. And like with any cliche movie, you gotta judge the movie off of how well it accomplishes the cliches that it is committing. And I gotta say, this movie surprised me. It does a good job. The action is well choreographed, extremely bloody. They have a lot of fun with the ways that they fight, constant fighting to keep your attention. And Josh Hartnett himself did a great job as the protagonist, who's just completely out of his mind, alcoholic like you've never seen, addicted to every drug on the planet, spoiler alert, to the point that he's immune to poisons and other drugs that are meant to impede him. They make him stronger. He's become superhuman through his abuse of narcotics. It is exactly what you want out of a dumb action movie for the beginning of summer. Now, granted, does it take so much inspiration from other movies like Bullet Train to the point where literally plot for plot, if you've seen one of these movies, you have seen both of these movies from beginning to end. Character motivation, twist at the end. But if you just enjoy the concept of turning your brain off, having some blood splash on your face, you just wake up in a bath of fucking blood and guts and gore and drugs and alcohol, sounds like a good Friday to me. All right, next up on the list, we have Clown in a Cornfield. Now, I was mostly excited for this one. I'm a big fan of the Terrifier series. I think a clown-based villain who's just goofy and having fun while doing the most grotesquely insane things is awesome. Now, can we do it again? Because as we all know, when something really good comes out, they're going to come out with a bunch of copycats. Now, this will actually come into play with another movie we're going to be reviewing later. But for now, we are reviewing Horror and Clown in a Cornfield, or so I thought was just going to be a big copycat of Terrifier, which I am glad to say it is actually a big copycat of Scream. Yeah, once again, come on, everybody, you over there. Yeah, you over there. What does every scary movie want to copy anymore? Scream! That's right. Now, security, get that guy the fuck out of here. Take him out and beat his ass on the way. Clown in a Cornfield follows the story of Katie Douglas as Quinn, a young woman who moves into a small town with her father for a fresh start, not knowing that there is a local serial killer that the town not only is aware of, but actively celebrates. Founders Day is coming up, and this is the day that the clown, known as Friendo, wreaks havoc. Now, I have to say, this movie surprised me in many different ways, which when I think about it, is a good thing. A movie that can catch you off guard is always going to be better than one that you expect the whole way through. And this movie did some things quite spectacularly. All the gore effects were done very well. The clown character is, I always think a creepy killer clown is fun. And probably the movie's biggest strength is how well the main cast of kids get along. Their banter together, their dialogue together, and especially the way that they react during high tense situations was very fun and pretty hilarious all the way through. I'd not often find myself laughing this hard during what is supposed to be a very tense scene, and the movie did it fantastically. Not only that, but at a point where I thought I could tell where the movie was going, I called who I thought the killer was going to be immediately, as did my wife, and we wanted to see if we could guess it. I'm happy to say that both of us were wrong. Spoiler alert, everyone, because even though this feels like quite a Scream ripoff, it is not just one or two people that are the killer. It is the entire town. Every boomer in town is a clown killer, and this is also, although it is a cool concept, this is where the movie really starts to struggle, and it's because you start to notice a big theme throughout it. This theme being the generational war between boomers and Gen Z. For you see, there's a lot of the comedy that I was talking about earlier. You'll see them with an old school phone where you have to twist it, the circle dial phone, and they're like, what? It's not working. There's no buttons. And these are great scenes, very funny when they happen. But then it accumulates into the end when they have shown the leader killer clown is the biggest guy in town, the richest guy, he's in charge. He comes out dressed as a sad clown. Now, I know the clown is the aesthetic for the killer, but this guy is not wearing a mask. He has this sad mime clown from like the 1920s black and white picture. He has the face paint, and all of a sudden he's licking his lips like fucking Heath Ledger. He's doing a decent Heath Ledger Joker, but the whole point is that he's a sad clown boomer that just can't get with the times. And he has a literal speech where he talks about how kids just want kids want participation trophies, participate in these nuts in your face, as they're just killing kids. And they're like, these kids, they're too young, they don't understand, so every once in a while we just gotta kill them. And you realize it's seriously all the people in town that you've been seeing throughout the movie, all the adults, they are the killers because they are tired of these kids' bullshit. And while he is the sad clown with a painted on frown, just complaining, they have this kid stand up on a pillar with a beam of light hitting him from behind while he says, "You know what, old man? Fuck you, Dad. You don't understand me. You're the one who needs to get with the times." And then it just becomes a bickering argument between the older generation and the younger generation, just telling each other how neither of them understand what it really means to be blah, 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 blah. And it takes way too much out of the movie, because everything leading up to it and everything immediately after it is really good. But they literally, they pause out of nowhere, whip out their soapbox, slam it on the ground, slowly step up, and then start preaching. Just fucking preaching. And it's like, bro, if I want to hear some preachy bullshit, I'll go to church and I'll fucking laugh at them there. I come to the movies so I can laugh at you here. And then it didn't make sense to me, because even once they kill the boomers, so the main girl's dad is not one of the killers, obviously, because he's new to town and he actually loves his kid. So then at the end, they kill the main clown killer, but the cops are in on it too. So it's like a whole corrupt government within this town. Everybody's in on it. So then the daughter decides, you know what, Dad? I'm going to college. I just want to escape. And the dad's like, that's fine. I'm staying here. Staying for what? What? There's clearly an entire government, governed lawed process, judicial bullshit where killer clowns murder children, and the dad's just staying? Because many of the killer clowns are still alive. It was everybody in town. So what, the dad's just going to be in number 2? I'm calling it, the dad's going to be the leader clown in number 2. All right, guys, movie number 3. You see, everyone, this golden envelope within my hands? Ooh! What could it be? but number 3. Drum roll, please. Because everybody, what was movie number 3? There's only 4 that came out this week, and what could it be? Shadow Force, everyone. Let's begin! Shadow Force follows the story of 2 elite government operatives. They're so special forces. They're so qualified and equipped that, ladies and gentlemen, they had to create a new branch of the government just to handle them. Shadow Force, the most insane, most qualified killers that you've ever seen. Imagine modern warfare, all 3 of the games put into one. Soap McTavish? I think not, because we have Kerry Washington as Kira and Omar Sy as husband. For you see, while Kerry Washington is out doing her Shadow Force stuff, husband is home taking care of the kid. But they realize, for you see, the main villain, okay, spoiler alert, everyone, the main villain, who is that bald piece of shit? Mark Strachan, everybody, because as soon as they show him, you just know because he's already acting up. He backhands his secretary, they're like, ex-former FBI, fired from his position for selling drugs to children in fucking impoverished areas. And he's just watching it with like a monocle, like, bah, humbug! Turns out he's Kerry Washington's ex-boyfriend, and he will stop at nothing to destroy their family. He didn't know that they have a kid, and right off the bat, you think this is going to be a dumb, fun action movie. I mean, Fight or Flight came out. Why wouldn't they have another? Shadow Force could have been a cool, dumb action. No, this is a family movie. Even when there is action, the dad literally like looks at the camera and he's like, my boy, cover your eyes. Cover your ears. Don't listen, my boy. And then the entire fight scene, you're just watching, you're from the kid's perspective, and they don't show you anything. And then the entire plot of the fucking movie is based off of a fight scene that we did not get to see, because literally the entire world within this universe saw the fight. It went as viral as it gets, to the point that every government all around the world, of every country, is sending their shadow forces because he kicks so much ass. This movie was terrible. It was so boring and so stupid. Whoops. And the action was so ass. And, you know, it's really something when the kid in the movie, it was standing toe-to-toe with Mark Strachan. The kid was the best actor in the movie by far. He was acting his parents to the ground every scene that they were in together. It wasn't even fair. The movie may as well have just been about the kid, because he killed it. So, the movie is redeemed simply because the child actor did so well. Oh man, what a night this has been, huh, folks? Woo! Ow! But unfortunately, like all good things, this show must come to an end. Boo! Boo! Boo is right, folks, because last but not least, we are reviewing, we are discussing, we are interrogating Juliet and Romeo, a new spin on a classic tale. This is no Romeo and Juliet. No. Romeo's a pussy. Who cares about Romeo? He's an idiot. This is Juliet and her Romeo. Because, you see, folks, not only is this a modern spin, they tell you from the beginning, this is a story about Juliet and nothing more. Juliet and Romeo attempts to take a modern twist on a classic tale of love, betrayal, lies, deceit, and murder. How does it do? Well, as much as this movie frames itself on being different, as much as it says, oh no, this ain't the Romeo and Juliet you know, it's Juliet and Romeo. It's pretty much the same story, but all of the songs are very instead of it being some kind of folksy, kind of, more appropriate musical, it's very much pop songs. They use a lot of auto-tune. They use instrument. You hear like drums, you hear guitar solos while they're singing. It's pretty insane. And honestly, it kind of fucking works. And you can tell almost immediately, this movie has production quality that it does not deserve and that you were not expecting. Because you hear the movie and you think you see Rebel Wilson, you see that fat idiot with the curls, and you think, oh, this movie's gonna be ass, obviously. But then you see this giant castle in the middle of like fucking New England or so, and that's the set. This giant stone castle. And then the way they frame and do the lighting where it's dark, but with like these bright purples and greens and blues, it felt like such a crazy fever dream. I recommend, if you're gonna see this movie, take drugs. Because I can only imagine. I'm looking at these Christmas lights right here, and I imagine, what if that was my reality? Juliet and Romeo. Not only that, but you see these actors, and yeah, they're not doing great. Particularly Romeo and Juliet, the two main characters, but everybody around them. For some reason, every single one, whether it's Mercutio, whether it's the idiot sorcerer, whether it's Rebel Wilson scowling in a way I've never seen before, everybody except the two main characters was killing it. They all did really good. Even the songs. These songs have nothing to do with the story. They have nothing to do with Romeo and Juliet. You can tell it's just a complete playlist of songs written just because. And they were kind of fucking catchy. Like, what the fuck is happening with this movie? Everything about this movie should be terrible. Every aspect of this movie is ass, but for some fucking reason, I had a lot of fun with it. Now, granted, not everybody who goes and reviews movies goes with the intent of getting as drunk and high and talking throughout it to the point that you don't know what you're watching. But this movie is perfect. If you're ever looking for just like a fun, stupid movie to talk over for background music, you know, you're chilling with the boys, be brave enough to bring up some Juliet and Romeo to the boys. All right, everybody, spoiler time. So you see, the main way that this movie differs from the original story is that Romeo and Juliet, they don't kill themselves at the end. Well, they fake out kill themselves, but they have this whole plot line where halfway through the movie, some scientist who's like, has like Jewish refugees or something, and then they all make magic happen for him. So he makes this poison that slows your heart down to almost being stopped, and then there's a cure where you drink it and you come back to life. And right off the bat, you know that's what they're gonna do with the fucking movie, halfway through. But then for some reason, they have this old man who's gonna do all of it. He's like the old man who's forcing them to get married and telling them it's a good idea. He's the one who's gonna do it. He's doing it totally in secrecy. Nobody knows what he's doing except for him. But for some reason, there's a whole scene, a plot line where he's just sleeping and he wakes up from a nap and he's like, oh no, the antidote, it broke in my pocket. And the guy that he's telling it to is like, what the fuck are you talking about, old man? And then it's not until the end of the movie. At the end of the movie, they have this whole, like, usual suspects dropping his coffee mug scene where the old man is like, do you see what I did there? What's this behind your ears? Oh, it's a twist to the movie. I fooled you. And it's the most, and it's like, what? And you're just sitting there wondering, because from the get-go, nobody knew about this plan. So this old man having this whole stupid scene where he broke the antidote wasn't for anybody in the movie or anyone within the story. He literally looks at the camera and goes like, I fooled you. And it's like, what? So they're fucking with me? As an audience member? Because I knew what was going on. And then you waited 40 more minutes to have this montage of like, remember every scene where we talked about fake out killing ourselves? And it's like, what? They did this whole fake out bullshit just to fuck with the audience that already knew what they were doing? It is such a terrible twist. And guess what? Sonny? What's that behind your other ear? Oh, it's another twist. For you see, this is copying Wicked. If you couldn't tell by this point in the fucking movie, this wanted to be Wicked. Wicked started something that no other musical can uphold to. And that's why at the very end, you get the fucking storybook telling you, Juliet and Romeo will return in part 2? What the fuck part 2 is there? I don't ever recall being in school and learning about Romeo and Juliet part 2. So what? Let me guess. The dad from fucking Clown in a Cornfield, he's gonna be the one behind it. It's gonna be a crossover, Juliet and Romeo in a cornfield too. Oh fuck.
Woo! Yeah! JBUTT!
So I look at my doctor and I say, complete failure of the liver. I hardly know her. All right, folks, let's get to the winner of tonight's show. What is this weekend's biggest release? All right, everyone, drum roll as I open my golden envelope. Clown in a Cornfield. Come on up, Clown in a Cornfield. You won this weekend's release by not only being decent horror, with some good gratuitous violence, some fantastically timed comedy on top of it. A horror movie that we both needed right now and could go without because of the 20 minutes of dedicated preaching. So, as I always say, folks, who needs more church?
Everybody!
So if you need more church, go watch them preach in Clown in a Cornfield, folks. Thanks for watching.